What's up, A to Z Sports Nashville? Happy Victory Monday. Boy, has it been a while since we could say that. It's a rare Easton Freeze Zach Bingham show on a Monday as Austin is getting back from a little beach trip away. Austin pointed out yesterday, Zach, that 3 of the Titans' past 4 wins have come when he's not been around. So maybe he needs to leave more often so that the Titans can do ridiculous things to get into the win column. That's absolutely what they did yesterday. Looking forward to talking about what this win actually means for the Titans going forward. Was it super lucky at times? Yes, absolutely. Was it utterly ridiculous the way that they came back and scored the last, I think, 19 points of the game, 19 unanswered, because they were down 21-3 at one point in the second quarter? There's so much to discuss here, Zach. I feel like we have new life amongst the Titans fans. We have new life, certainly amongst media. Needed this win bad, not just to get into the win column, but to have something to talk about around here. Looking forward to doing it with you this morning. Looking forward to doing it with everybody in the comments. Before we get started, Zach, tell the folks what they need to do.
Yeah, there's a difference between wants and needs. This was a need for the franchise. This was not a want or a desire. Fans may have said that leading up to it, but Brian Callahan and the entire team needed that. The NFL needed it, honestly, too. The Arizona Cardinals did not. And the Titans got a victory. So it is official first victory Monday in October. A little bit later than maybe one would think, but here we are. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Get locked in right there. We will tweet out link by link, segment by segment, our YouTube live link. And that's the best part. If you follow at A to Z Sports and you're a Titans fan, that's where you can get locked into all of the best coverage covering your favorite football team, your winning football team, at least for a short period of time, at A to Z Sports. So give us a follow there. The easiest way to interact with these live shows is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and then search A to Z Sports Nashville. It'll pop up. Hit the subscribe button. Also, tap in to that live alert button, which is the bell. Ring the bell where you get live alerts when we go live. That is morning. We've got prime time shows, game day shows, as Easton and JT yesterday had very big shows from pregame, halftime, and postgame reacting to the Titans' 22-21 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Also, Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. So share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends' news feed. So, Easton, let's get this party. And it truly is on a Monday, a party. Let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get it started. Welcome into the A to Z Sports Morning Show live on a Monday morning, powered by BTA Sports. As Zach said, like the show, subscribe, leave us a 5-star Google review. And we got to thank our sponsors for making the show happen and helping out you guys at home. Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine at boneandjointtn.org. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts, life is short. Buy a golf cart with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and Gallatin, boterocarts.com. And Window Nation, buy 2 windows, you'll get 2 for free. Make no payments for 2 years at windownation.com. All right, Zach, let's get things started with a summary from the head coach, the embattled head coach, who I think needed this probably more than anyone else on the entire planet. Can't imagine how he feels waking up this morning knowing that he finally got into the win column. Here's what he had to say immediately following the game to start his press conference.
Obviously, just really exciting to get a win, to show that kind of fight in a game where we had to claw our way back into it. It was everything that we needed to see from our football team. We've been waiting to see for a couple of weeks now, the ability to make the plays when it mattered. To help us win the game. And those guys fought like crazy tonight. It was superb effort all the way around. Awesome to see. I think just the resilience of the team, the fight that they show when the way things have gone for us early on this year, to come in and fight the way they fought. And even when it didn't look good in the first half, we kept battling. And that's all that we ask of those guys. And they did a great job. I think individually, some individual efforts. Jeff Simmons continues to play at what I think is, potentially a defensive player of the year level. I mean, he's been phenomenal in every game he's played. I thought L'Jarius Sneed effort on that short yardage ball that got, it was because he was there chasing it down. That's incredible effort to make a play. And, sometimes you got to have things go your way a little bit. And that was great to see have happen. I think Cam made big plays when we needed him to. And both tight ends, Gunner and Chig and Calvin, when we needed the plays to be made, they made them. And I think that's the critical part. It's what we've been searching for the first month of the season is guys making plays when they need to make the play. So really proud of the team, really proud of the fight. And it's good to get a win. And now it's just one. We're going to try to keep rolling and keep stacking, but proud of what we showed today.
Sometimes you just need the ball to bounce your way. And dadgummit, any honest broker who's watched this terrible team for the past 400 days knows that for the majority of the Brian Callahan era, I think this team has been equal parts actively bad at football and pretty daggum unlucky. So to see them actually get the bounces in a game was something that I wasn't used to seeing. Were they extremely lucky? Yes, but usually they're on the other end of that equation. And that's why yesterday, my one word for this game, Zach, was providential. It felt like maybe a little divine intervention even for this game to go the way that it did. But it was something that was a little fluky, maybe a little bit lucky, but providential in the sense that it was desperately needed. And it's very good news. What is your one word for your reaction to this game? To maybe let us know where you were. How were you experiencing this ridiculousness yesterday?
I try to watch all the games at the comfort of my own home where I've got 4 screens in every single game. I don't like red zone. I like to watch all the games in their entirety. So I try to set that up. That's where I was watching it. And it's funny, looking at Brian Callahan, I don't know whether his shirt was saturated with water, Gatorade, or sweat. I'm going to probably go with the latter based on what yesterday embodied. And, Demetrius comes in and says, let me get my one word from yesterday's game out of the way. And he said fluke. And I actually go away from that because I would go more towards what Brian Callahan actually said, and that was fight. This team at 0-4 has every reason to give up, every reason to not make the play. You get the ball back with 2 minutes left, and Cam Ward can go 3 and out. You saw that in Denver in a different circumstance, obviously. And they could have had that 2-minute experience if it wasn't for the Jeffrey Simmons thing at the end of Denver. But they had 2 minutes. They had learned from their last 4 games, and they fought back. Yes, did the Cardinals – I thought actually Kyler Murray put it the best way. Losing 101. He goes, if there's a 101 to lose the game, that's it. That is losing 101.
Yes.
But somebody actually had to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Sly had to kick, it went close to the upright, but it went through, so it doesn't matter. You had to make the plays. Calvin Ridley at the end of the game had to make the catches. Cam Ward had to make the throws. The protection had to be at least quality enough for Cam Ward to have time to step into those throws. So my one word is fight because this team had every reason not to. The Cardinals kept giving them reasons too, but at a bad team, the coach, hey, when is he going to get fired? Can his ass? We ass. All of these things that were building up to this point, you got to kind of give credit to the Tennessee Titans of blocking out the noise and going to win a game. Now, what were the Cardinals, the best team in the league? No, Arizona Cardinals are who you think the Arizona Cardinals are. They're a mid-tier team that can win some games but lose more. They gave the ability for the Titans to go take it, and damn it, the Titans took it. So hats off to the Tennessee Titans and Brian Callahan. That was earned. You say earned, not given. It was earned and given, not given. That's how I would put it.
I completely agree. That speaks to what was my favorite comment, and I forget the commenter, so I apologize. But my favorite comment from our post-game show yesterday pointed out how many times have we seen this team or a Brian Callahan team given a crack in the door in a game and not come close to taking it, right? It's one thing for the opponent to open the door for you the way that the Cardinals did, and they swung that thing wide open. But you do have to go in
3 doors,
They did.
Pick
they
1, 2, and 3, and the Titans actually picked all 3.
Exactly. So I think credit is fair to be given as long as we're acknowledging the fact that those doors were opened to the Titans for actually going and doing the thing, which is not a thing. We've not seen them do that. We've seen them shrink in fourth quarters, not rise to the occasion in fourth quarters. And so that's something that I think leads us into our first question here, Zach, which is which of these Titans players had the biggest impact on this comeback win? There's a number of choices, I think, and we'll kind of dive into. I'm sure Cam Ward will be a popular answer, but there's a lot of guys on this roster that rose to the occasion, especially in those final 3 scoring drives yesterday. So we've sent that question in the chat: which Titans player had the biggest impact on this comeback win? You guys send your answers in the comments on Facebook and on YouTube, and we'll get to those as soon as I tell everyone about our friends at Barton Drury Insurance, customized solution for all of your insurance needs at bartondrury.com. They are truly a one-stop shop for both personal and business insurance needs of all kind. Austin and Zach went to Barton Drury for their A to Z insurance needs last year and felt that they offered an extreme level of expertise and responsiveness throughout the process. The number of options and plans presented to them, everything was laid out perfectly by the expert service team over there at bartondrury.com. And they sell everything you could possibly need: employee benefits, 401k planning, life insurance, workers' comp, liability, auto, property, umbrella, and surety bonds. If you need it, they've got it when it comes to insurance. They are a locally owned operation. They strive to provide excellent service, but they also want to take the time to make sure everyone understands their insurance policies. So check them out for any of your insurance needs at bartondrury.com.
We'll get to your comments here in a second. We are powered by BTA Sports, better for bettors. Make sure you download the BTA Sports app. Use the promo code ATOZ. Smart bets, there's no guesswork when this comes to play. I used it over the weekend. You can go and tap into the data, tap into the analytics, and find your best bet and use that against the sports books. We all want to win. They've got the technologies and the algorithms and all the other stuff with how they set the line. Fight fire with BTA Sports. Download the app today.
All right, I'll send you to the comments, Zach. Which Titans player do our listeners believe had the biggest impact on the Titans comeback win?
Yep, going to have to scroll. We got a ton of comments coming in, which is awesome as we go through with this Victory Monday, as they say. Borkington starting with Calvin Ridley. Tony Pollard there coming in next. Jeffrey Simmons, you saw. Look, I think this is a wild case, but the coach did it. Jeffrey Simmons for Defensive Player of the Year is probably going to be an uphill climb on a 1-4 team, but he is playing like the best player on the team that we think that Jeffrey Simmons is on this team. So there's Jeffrey Simmons. Ridley with the big catches. I'd say Cam and Chig. So they're Chig getting in. Hello, ladies, says Arizona's running back. Well, it's this Titans question. You have to pick a Titans player. That's pretty obvious. You could have picked 3 instances for Arizona and given them.
Shout out Mr. DeMarcado, though. Big help yesterday.
Absolutely. Lane and Troy both say Chig with his plays. And we'll dive more into Chig Okonkwo and his impact on this offense, because I think the broadcast said it pretty succinctly yesterday when it came to Chig's impact. Sneed with the hustle, and you didn't see Sneed give up the big plays like you'd seen in the weeks prior. And the hustle effort of running him down, and we'll also discuss that play. The offensive line from IR, Carl says Ridley, Leslie says Ridley, Ridley coming in from Assad, Ridley coming in from John, Ridley was on fire from Scott, Ridley from Christian, Ward from Paul, Lockett, right place, right time from Ashley, Chig from Brad, Koss says Big Jeff, DeMarcado is the real answer, as we kind of mentioned that as well. Cap said Cam, Jeff from Darnell, Ridley from Tyler. So here are the cast of characters. You've got Chig Okonkwo, you've got Jeffrey Simmons, you've got Cam Ward, and then some honorable mentions around like Tony Pollard and others. Who do you think had the biggest impact as a Titans commodity to win this game?
I'm going to avoid the Cam Ward obvious answer, because in just about every win or loss, you can point to the quarterback as a big or the biggest reason. And there's no doubt that Cam Ward was dreadful for about 50 minutes of football. And then in the final 3 drives was, I was looking at some of the efficiency numbers courtesy of my friend Zach Lyons this morning. those final 3 drives, he was a top 5 quarterback by efficiency in the league yesterday. So that's how big a switch he flipped, was going from basically the worst guy all day to being one of the best guys all day in the final 3 drives when it mattered most. That being said, I'm going to say Calvin Ridley, just because the how disparate what we'd seen versus what we saw was. And yesterday was one of those games. We saw this last year too, Zach, where Calvin starts real slow. At one point last year, he had a 3-game stretch where I think he had a total of like 14 yards through 3 games. Truly invisible. And then he had one big game, I think it was a little bit later in the year, week 6, week 7, where he comes out, gets north of 100 yards, has like 10 targets and catches 7 of the balls, and then he's off to the races. And the final 11 weeks of the year, he's on a 1,300-yard pace. We were hoping, obviously, that this year he'd come in and not have the slow start because he's used to the team. He's more of a leader now. He's more comfortable. He's got an upgrade at quarterback, we all thought and hoped, and yet it's been miserable. Yesterday, getting on the board with 132 yards, 10 targets, only 5 catches to get to the 132-yard mark. In terms of EPA, so which is just a mathematical way of measuring the number of points on the board a player or a given play impacted. So of the Titans' points, Calvin Ridley accounted mathematically for around 12 of them yesterday. That's how impactful his completions were on the Titans' bottom dollar on the scoreboard. And just to put that in frame of reference for the rest of the league, that made him the second most impactful receiver in the league yesterday by EPA, behind Emeka Egbuka in Tampa Bay, who had an incredible day. That's the kind of impact from Calvin Ridley we were all hoping and thinking we would see, especially with Cam Ward and that special connection we thought they had. And for it to show up in week 5 is the definition of better late than never. But if this can be a springboard game for him to, we all understand, is he a top half of the league wide receiver 1? No. But is he easily the best receiver this team has? Yes. And when he is playing to his capability, then Cam Ward has an outlet that he can rely on no matter what the rest of the receiving core is doing. And that's a really big deal for a rookie quarterback who, again, through 3 quarters and change yesterday, was swimming out there. And it was extremely obvious that he didn't trust anybody. Because until those final 3 drives, until Emari Demercado fumbled that ball, I mean, I know I was sitting for the majority of the game with my head in my hands, agonizing over the drops, over the inability to make a play, over the constantly just off the mark passes from Cam Ward that he has to clean up. But then on the other side, also being furious at the receivers for making 0 plays. And then suddenly this team caught a vibe. Emari Demercado fumbled the ball and everyone was making plays. Even Tyler Lockett was coming back to the ball. And it's like, holy cow, if Tyler Lockett's making plays on the ball, then we're in business all of a sudden. Chigakonko was making plays on the ball. Calvin Ridley hits a couple of big deep shots. That's the kind of thing that we've not seen them bottle up, especially in a fourth quarter. And for Calvin to kind of lead that charge and have those 2 massive plays and to have the ultimate play that put them in position to win the game. That's what you need to see from him the rest of the year. And I think that he is worthy of saying this guy had the biggest impact, maybe outside the quarterback, on this win.
So I think the first half of this show should be about the positives. We'll get to the negatives because there are plenty of those maybe in the second half of the show. But, going through what the correct answer is, I think you are correct. I've got an alternative because I want to kind of talk on something that I think was impactful. Sure. But Calvin Ridley, I think, is the correct answer here. His stat line is what Calvin Ridley's stat line should look like. Mm-hmm. Calvin Ridley can help the other offensive players on the team with this stat line. He had 10 targets. That should be the minimum every game. You should have 10 targets to Calvin Ridley. Sure. Whether you drop 5 of them and catch 5 of them, you should at least throw the damn ball 10 times to your best wide receiver and your offensive weapon for explosive plays. So you got that. I think that was a positive. He caught 5, targeted 10, and he had 2 massively explosive plays for 38 yards and 47 yards. And one of them set up a game. I mean, was a game winner, essentially, right? Completely stole the momentum to win that game that they could go manage. We'll talk about the negatives, as I said. I mean, I want to ask your opinion on Arizona's 3rd down play prior to the punt. because I think that is a situation that you could probably criticize, and we'll dive deeper into this. So Calvin Ridley, I think, impacted the win the most. But let's talk about the offense as a whole and the difference what I saw this game compared to the last four. And that was on the shoulders of the offensive line, Tony Pollard, and the run game. Early on, now the passing game did not, I think, take advantage as much as they should have. But Easton, did you not feel like the Titans got into third and manageable more than they ever had over the last four games? That is the Titans' game plan. They're not good enough to have Josh Allen run around and make plays and get 35-yard chunk plays consistently. That's not where they are. That's just not the franchise right now. You need to get into third and fives. You need third and fives. You need third and fours, because that gives your novice play caller an opportunity to at least gain some traction and not try to get 10 to 12 yards, just get 6. You can do out routes. You can do drags. You can do checkdowns and still win. You can still call screens and keep the defense honest. You can still call run plays on 3rd and 4. You can't do any of that stuff at 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. And that's what this team had been experiencing over the last 4 weeks. So I want to give the flowers, at least as the model of the offense, now that Brian Callahan is not calling the plays. I do want to recognize that. Do they still have the drops? Do they still have penalties? Do they still have sacks? Yes. They're still a bad football team, guys. They won one game. They're 1-4. We're not sitting here telling you anything differently. But I did see a change in yesterday's game. And even if they would have lost by 14 points or gone down, 20, I guess it would have been 28-6, right?
Right. Yeah.
What if then I would have still said the same thing if you would have said, Zach, give me a positive that you saw in yesterday's game. I thought that the offensive game plan at least fit what they need to do. We talk about want and need. They need to get into 3rd down and 5. Calvin Ridley is the answer to the question, though. That's the best option for your young quarterback.
Yeah, as you were talking, I pulled up Tony Pollard's running chart from Next Gen Stats, and the stat line is not particularly shocking. It's 14 carries, 67 yards, 1 touchdown. But of those 14 carries, to your point of staying on time, and they absolutely stayed on time better yesterday than they had at any point this year, half of his carries went for 5 or more yards, 7 of the 14. Only 2 of them were tackles for loss. So the running game kept the train on the tracks and the train on schedule. And that's something that I had been calling for them to run the ball more. I know everyone desperately wants the rookie quarterback to just drop back and throw every time. Let's let Cam throw 60 times a game. Why not? It's more fun to watch that. But if you want to actually win games and set Cam up for success, Tony Pollard running the ball the way that he did yesterday is absolutely the way to do that. I want to hear from Cam. We've got a clip from Cam on the resilience of this team that we'll play here in just a moment. But first, Zach, could you tell our friends about the Bone and Joint Institute?
Yeah, Bone and Joint Institute. It's the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic medicine, and it's right here in Middle Tennessee. They will help you in your time of need. Maybe it's a shoulder, maybe it's an ankle, maybe it's a knee, maybe something has been bothering you. If you've had an injury or have an injury, use the Bone and Joint Institute. We've been partners with them at A to Z for a number of years. They are trusted here in the market, and they've grown over the years. It's not just their state-of-the-art facility down there in Franklin. They've got satellite locations all across Middle Tennessee. All you have to do is you can go online, you can visit them online, you can Google Bone and Joint Institute and find your closest location and get things checked out. And that's not just for you. It could be for your family. It could be for your kids if something happens. Look, we've all broken a bone or twisted our ankle. I've broken both of my collarbones. Things happen, right? You sometimes need rehab and specialists to help you get back to who you are. That's the Bone and Joint Institute. Do not fumble on your recovery.
We're also powered by BTA Sports, better for betters. You'll listen to a million different shows this week, and a lot of them are bringing you sponsorships, betting sponsorships that are the sports books themselves. The sports books aren't your friends. We're bringing you a betting sponsorship that is on your side to defeat the sports book. That's what BTA Sports is doing. They are invested in you making money. They're not a sports book glad handing you saying, "Oh, here's for bonus tokens." If you no, this is let's make some money on the sports book. That's what BTA Sports is helping you do with their analytical machine learning models, making us money. Join us in the link in the description to sign up today for a 14-day free trial, and then it's just $9.99 a week after that. BTA Sports, better for bettors. Let's play this clip, Zach, of Cam Ward yesterday talking about the resilience of this team, and I want to hear your thoughts on what the starting quarterback had to say.
It's really not that big to me, honestly. I played well previously in my career. I just got to be consistent at it. I think the second half I really saw the field better. In terms of just getting the ball out, letting my guys make plays. And I think Chig and Gunner, the tight ends, they did that along with the receiving corps.
Was there something that made you see the field better, like an adjustment or anything like that?
There really was an adjustment from the first half to the second half, and as far of what they were giving me from the coverage-wise, it's really me of more just putting the ball in play. They give it to me now. If the corner is back, I need to put the ball in play.
We heard that following the win, the scene down in the tunnel was very evident how excited the Titans were in the locker room. Everybody that was on the beat was there saying that it was the loudest they've heard a Titans locker room in a very, very, very long time. We heard Brian Callahan's post-game speech was posted by the Titans on Twitter, and he's telling them to enjoy this one, to turn up the music, to go crazy. You could see some life in the eyes of this team for the first time in a long time. It was refreshing to see Brian Callahan on the interception, fumble, touchdown play. They panned to him on the broadcast, and for the first time maybe this year, Brian Callahan on the sidelines looked like he didn't want to just crawl in a hole and die. It's like, oh, look, there's some life behind this guy's eyes. And Cam Ward, I think, understanding of the fact that he played a pretty poor game, but that came up clutch, in his post-game comments, sounded like a guy that is excited about where this team could be going with this game as a springboard.
I think Cam has won a lot of games in his career, and Brian Callahan hasn't in a head coaching spot. And I thought you could tell the difference of the reactions. Now, Cam Ward, that is his demeanor, is just one. He wants so much more. He wants to be great, and he's played 5 games, right? So he's got a long career ahead of him. But even Kowarski at the end of the press conference was like, "Hey, how'd you feel? Like, what was your?" And this is Cam Ward, even. I did look at that, and it was funny that the reporters in the room were trying to say, "What did you do differently? What did you do differently?" And Cam Ward had the same reaction. I don't know if you've seen this clip of Peyton Manning last year on the Bannon case where he goes, "Everybody thinks there's halftime adjustments. I've never made a halftime adjustment in my life. You go in there, you eat a slice of orange, you get some water, you go to the bathroom, you get back out there for the second half." Right? So Cam was very honest in his answer of that. They just needed to play better. They needed to execute. I go back to the play calling. I have enjoyed the new play calling. I've seen a difference. And for the second half of this game, the offensive line played better. You have to have players play better around you for better execution, obviously, right? And so I felt like Cam Ward got that. It goes back to you give an inch, you take a mile. And the Titans took that mile. The Cardinals gave them plenty of inches, but the Titans actually executed. I do want to bring this question up because this is a pre-show question, Easton, I posed to you. I'm curious to see what the chat has to say about this. And it kind of goes into really the 4 plays that I want to concentrate on.
Okay.
But did the Titans win the game, or did the Cardinals lose the game? I'm going to put that question. This is a little bit of a pivot from our regularly scheduled programming. I'm curious to see what the chat says. Okay. Was this a Titans win or a Cardinals loss? Because I think you could argue both points. I really do. The Cardinals gave up 4 massive plays that impacted that, but Cam Ward threw the dime down the sidelines for 48 yards to Calvin Ridley. Chig made 2 Cardinals defenders miss to get upfield. Gunnar Helm took a play out of week 1 over the shoulder catch These all happened when the Cardinals could have completely shut them down. So, Nas says this is the easiest question in a while. I think it is on the surface easy, but an 0-4 team should lose this game. They shouldn't win. So I'll ask you that, Easton. Did the Titans win or did the Cardinals lose?
I agree with Hayden in the chat. Both. I think that it is impossible to talk about this game without acknowledging that the only reason the Titans had a chance to win in the first place is that two separate Cardinals, on their own volition, fumbled the ball. They chose to drop the ball, and the Titans got those balls. That being said, when you look at the win percentage chart from yesterday, you can get it on NFL Plus or on ESPN. It shows you what the Titans were down 3 scores. They weren't quite down to 3 scores, but because they missed the extra point, we'll talk about the decision not to go for 2 here in a minute. They ended up needing 3 scores to win the game. 3 scoring drives is what it took for them to win the game in the fourth quarter. And even on the third and final scoring drive, when they're down 2, just needing a field goal, and they have roughly 56 seconds on the clock, they're on their own 30-ish yard line. The win probability chart before the Calvin Ridley completion, after the Chig completion, which got them across midfield, but before the Calvin Ridley completion, which got them into the low red zone, still thought that the Titans only had like a 24% chance to win. And what the math, and I think all of our eyes and brains sitting watching that game in the fourth quarter refused to believe that they were going to actually do it until they finally did it. Because again, this team had, up until this past weekend, built a reputation of shrinking in the fourth quarter. The broadcast showed a graphic at one point in the fourth quarter of, look at this. The Titans, by point differential, are twice as bad in the fourth quarter as the next worst team in the NFL. That's how terrible this team is at finishing games. And we've spent countless hours and thousands of words of writing so far this season talking about why this team can't finish. They did it this weekend. And I don't know if it was just the there's a momentum element to it, Zach, and you a lot of smart people will tell you, actually, momentum's not real in football, and you can't quantify it, and it's not real. Okay, cool, whatever. Talk to any coach.
Don't listen to those people.
Any coach or player ever, and ask them if you can feel momentum. Talk to any Titans player from yesterday in that fourth quarter if they can feel momentum, and they'll tell you, of course you can. So I don't know if it was just a momentum thing, that they needed something to go their way to find some life and to dig deep in the fourth quarter, or what it was. But I absolutely think it is fair to say that the Titans won this game as much as the Cardinals lost it, because they did, despite all the Cardinals' mistakes, have to put together 3 consecutive scoring drives, a thing that they had not done all day to that point, a thing that they had not done for 4 quarters the previous week when they scored 0 points, a thing that they had hardly done the week before that against the Colts, when they basically scored all of their points in garbage time because the Colts were slaughtering them and the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So I think it is absolutely fair to say both of these things are true. The Cardinals lost, but the Titans won.
I'm going to dig a little deeper into that. I want to go to the chat real quick because Chris says Cardinals lost, Cardinals lost, Cardinals lost. Cardinals left the door open. The Titans had to execute their plays to shut the door there from Bearded. Then we did also get a couple of Titans wins. King VC, our guy, who always tells us to lock in, 51% Titans win, 49% Cardinals lost. So that's in favor of the Titans win. There's a Titans win. Joshua says Titans won. Yes, the Cardinals made some mistakes, but still have to seize the opportunity and capitalize on it. That's winning. Titans had to push and not lay down, and the Titans did that. Jason says the Titans won. Let's see, Ben in Nashville. The Titans win. They still had to execute and get the W. The 2 big turnovers from the Cards gave the opportunity, and Cam Ward took it. So I'm pleasantly surprised that the chat, yes, there's also going to be the Cardinals lost. I get that. Cardinals' major mistakes allowed the Titans to win, but a win is a win is a win is a win, and the Titans had to do it. They had to make the plays. So, Easton, here's my in-depth Cardinals side of it. I want you to rank these 4 situations from the Cardinals of most impactful. Okay. And then this is in 0 order, so you can re-rank them. Kyler Murray face fumble, right?
Right.
Right, bang, right there. And then he hurt his foot on the play, or that was prior. We couldn't figure that out.
I don't
So
know.
that's one of the plays. The other, DeMarcado / Sneed giving some pressure and letting the ball. Yeah, I mean, this is DeMarcado's fault.
Yeah.
Fumbling
Maybe
the
he heard
football
the
at the guard.
footsteps. I don't know really what that
The
has to do with
dumbest
anything.
play in sports. I think we should coin that the stupidest, dumbest play in sports that every coach pulls their hair out. Just you know what, you have a rule. This is what I do if I'm the Cardinals coach.
I was about to say this. Yes.
The new rule is you have to run it past the back end zone of I have to see your feet cross the white line at the back end of the end zone.
Oh, you're more
with the
lenient than
ball.
me. I said yesterday, my rule as a coach would be you have to hand it to the ball boy on the sideline.
No,
every touchdown ball, you bring it back with you to the sideline, you hand it to the ball boy.
That or no celebrations, no fun, sir. You place the ball at the back, right below the field goal post, right there at the middle.
Maybe it's rugby rules. You need to touch the ball down to the paint in the end zone before you can let go of it.
Dumbest play in sports, letting the ball go and giving your opportunity. All right, so a face fumble, DeMarcado fumble.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was Tyler Lockett's touchdown. So interception,
Hey,
deflection.
shout out Tyler Lockett,
fumble.
anytime touchdown betters yesterday.
That's
Never in
the
doubt.
third play. And then the fourth play I'm going to throw in there, 3rd down and 8 at the end of the game. And the broadcasters, if you were watching the game, said they're forced to run here, right? Because of the time you have to run one play prior to the 2-minute warning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Titans have one timeout. So they're going to get to keep their one timeout. It's 3rd and 8. They're going to run the football. And we'll talk about this in depth, but I want you to rank those 4 of most impactful.
Oh, man. The DeMarcado fumble is the most impactful just because it would have salted the game. They had been up 28-6. And man, I don't know. Did you catch the clip of DeMarcado on the sideline? His offensive tackle, Paris Johnson Jr., is like consoling him. And then Jonathan Gannon comes over, and I sure hope there wasn't a hot mic around, because Lord knows what he said to that poor young man. It looked like he didn't know how to control himself, the head coach, which I understand.
Schools of thought. And if they interviewed, he goes, he's a professional. I wanted to go over and just give him words of encouragement. And the coach said, F that, you stupid MFer. Are you so dumb that you can? And I think I'd probably be the latter. I wouldn't be the guy saying,
what?
Hey, you're a professional,
really?
Man. I would.
That doesn't sound like you,
I
Zach.
felt the coach. I felt his emotion, and
That's the least surprising thing I've heard all morning.
Right?
But listen. Sometimes you need a little bit of both, and I think he probably needed a little bit of both right in that moment.
Consoling is afterwards. In the moment, you're getting ass chewed.
Fair,
Saban style.
Yeah, that's fair. You can build him back up later. So the DeMarcado fumble is the most impactful. I think the least impactful. Honestly, as disrespectful and as maybe conservative as it felt in the moment, the decision to run and give the Titans the ball back, was it kind of flippant by the Cardinals coaching staff?
Yes,
I think so.
That's my number 2, because
really, okay,
you're going against a terrible secondary that has, in 5 games not been able to cover many people. You had so much success with Marvin Harrison. He disappeared. Where's Marvin Harrison Jr.? No one knows, right? He had so much success early in the game, and then you're not willing to put the ball in Kyler Murray. He's got a foot. He can still run around. You can go get 8 yards. The game is on the line. Mm-hmm. And that, I thought, that told me that they didn't believe in their team, and that's why I think ultimately they lost as well. You throw the football to try, because you can ice it.
No, I hear you. You and I just had exact opposite reactions to that, because fair to say that means they don't have faith in their team. I think you can argue that. To me, in the moment, it was they still are daring the Titans to score, and they think they can't do it. They have no faith in this Titans offense moving the ball, which fair, right? Like, I mean, historically so far this year, the odds of the Titans offense marching down the field, especially with little time on the clock and scoring points, is very low. So I felt like it was disrespectful, but honestly, not the craziest decision ever based on your opponent. Would I have been upset if I were a Cardinals fan in the moment? I would have.
Well,
I'm with you
booed.
on. Yeah, I
The
would.
few
I would
that
have
were
been
there.
frustrated by that. But of all the opponents to do that against, the Titans are at the very top of my list of, okay, well, maybe you can still get away with it. So for me, it is fumble number 1, DeMercado. Fumble number 2, the one that turned into the Lockett touchdown. Then probably the third down decision, and then the face fumble, because the face fumble, the Titans offense didn't do anything with it. That was one of those where you're like, oh, great, they got the ball back. I don't know why I'm excited though, because we know they're not going to do anything with it, and they did.
I think it was a part of momentum of like the Cardinals crumbling.
And ultimately it did. But in that moment, aren't you sitting there thinking, oh, great, they got it back, so just they can punt it away again here in a minute? Like, that's where we all were at that point in the game.
I think I looked at that third down play, and then I want to get to the 2-point conversion call that
yes, please,
Callahan didn't call. I look at that play, and I look at really good teams with coaches that you trust, and Kyle Shanahan, Dan Campbell, the Eagles, the Bills, they go for it. They throw the football there. I don't think any of those teams, and those are the highest quality teams in this league that we watch, they all on 3rd and 8 throw the football. They don't run. And I think that was, for me, a separator of the Titans Cardinals versus an elite matchup.
Yes.
Broncos Eagles. If you watched that yesterday, throw them on the table because we're going for 2.
Loved it.
Loved it. You're not running the ball on 3rd and 8. You think Sean Payton is running the ball on 3rd and 8 to get to the 2-minute warning and give the opposing team a timeout in 2 minutes? Give me a break. So I thought that also kind of inches me to say the Cardinals lost the game and the Titans didn't win. I think, yes, the answer is both. That's why we're asking the question. But damn, that was tough. All right, Brian Callahan, you score.
Can we, before we get into that, can we ask the question? Because I want the chat to be able to weigh in on Brian Callahan's day in general. We do have this as an official question. Did your opinion of Brian Callahan improve, go down, or stay the same based on this game? Zach's going to send that in the comments. And then I got to unload with you here, Zach, on the 2-point conversion situation. Something that I commented on it in the post-game show yesterday. And then afterwards, in reviewing all of the post-game press conference and everything, I got to hear Callahan initially asked by one of the folks on the beat about the decision. He gave a kind of a vague answer about them having a specific reason for why they went against what is Analytics 101. And when I go to the facility here in a matter of hours, at the top of my list is going to be getting an explanation from him on why in the world he did this, because it was unbelievably dumb, in my opinion. That being said, let's tell our friends about. I'm already getting hot about it. I've got to pace myself here. Tell our friends about the deal that Window Nation's got going on right now. And how about a little fun graphic on a Victory Monday? Window Nation, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free. They were doing it just for September, and then they said, why stop a good thing? Let's keep the good times rolling. The deal's extended through October, so you can buy 2 windows and get 2 free and have no payments, no down payment, no initial payment, no monthly payment or interest until 2027. So you can wait to start to pay off those windows once the Titans' new stadium is open. Now, you do need to hurry because this is going to end after October. It is a miracle they extended it into October. So take advantage of Window Nation's generosity today. It's Window Nation's most popular offer. You can schedule a fast and free, did I mention free, estimate now with the pros over at Window Nation. Austin did this. He put his money where his mouth is. He did the estimate. He had them come out to his house. He had incredible things to say about it. He bought new windows from Window Nation and took advantage of this deal. You should as well. Check them out, 866-90Nation or at windownation.com.
And these things are clean too, right?
They really are.
You know?
Yeah.
Also you can clean up with the sports books by downloading BTA Sports. There's better for bettors. It helps you. The sports books want to take your money. BTA wants you to win money. They don't have the affiliation of all of the sports books that are trying to get in your pocketbook. Download the app today. Use the promo code ATOZ. You can sign up. They have player props, analytics. You got, Kansas City and Jacksonville tonight, down there in Duval, which is a unique kind of good matchup.
I'm sneaky excited for this one, Zach.
I assume the Jags are going to be wearing their prowlers. And so, you got Kelsey and, the Taylor Swift album drop. I'm sure how many times they're going to say that on the broadcast. And then what do you know? Kansas City plays another primetime game next week. They live at night.
That's right.
But better for bettors, you can get in on the action and find your best bet at BTA Sports. Download the app today.
All right, going to the comments here. We asked, did your opinion of Brian Callahan improve, go down, or stay the same based on this game? And the early returns are same. Apple Pie 1-ish says still needs to be fired. So I'd imagine that's same. Same for Meyer Hoshi and Dylan and Scott. It went down, according to Willie. Eric says stayed the same. Alan asks, what did he do? Well, we're about to talk about one of the things that he did. MB slightly improve.
Well, he didn't lose.
He didn't lose, right? That is an important thing. He got a win. Zion, not at all. Good management at the end, though. In terms of the very, very end of the game, he did manage the clock correctly there. So kudos, I suppose. Went further down. So the vast majority of the answers, Zach, are that it stayed the same, which I'd imagine for most folks, same means still get this guy out of here, right? I think that's probably where most folks' baseline is right now. A couple of, Orlando says improved 2 micrograms, so just barely. But there were a couple of things in terms of game management in this one that, left some things to be desired. And I think you have to start with the non-2-point conversion attempt.
Extend the game. You assume your kicker can kick an extra point, right?
You should.
Now, assuming also makes you what Cam Ward thinks the team was last week.
Indeed.
But I actually don't knock it. I extend the game.
Zach, no.
I don't go for 2.
Why?
Because I don't trust my offense. I don't really trust anybody on the team in that sense. But I think you extend the game. I think the concept for this fragile 0-4 team at the time, because that's what they were, right? They were a winless, heartless franchise 53-man roster at that time, and they were down by 9.
Mm-hmm.
I extend the game to continue to give my team hope. So that's a good follow-up question to Brian Callahan today. You're not going to ask him after the game, after a win. But this is the Monday. The press conference is at 2:30 today. This, I think, is an ideal question is, what was your thought process with making it an 8-point game instead of, which I think you're probably going to go with, carrying the momentum to try to make it and capitalize on the 2-point conversion? So then,
not about momentum.
What's your philosophy?
It's about math. I understand where you're coming from for this, and if I had to guess,
a heartless team at 0-4.
Well, they were heartless at 0-4. I will push back on the idea that in that moment they were dead because they just scored a touchdown, a thing they hadn't done all day. So they did have some momentum there in terms of getting on the board for the first time. The reason why it is analytics 101 when you are down either 14 or 15. Now, the 14 one's a little bit different because it's about winning the game, not tying the game. When you're down 15, it's about making sure you can tie the game. When you need 2 touchdowns and at least 1 2-point conversion completion, you go for 2 on your first touchdown so that you know what you need. You know that you're eventually going to need a 2-point conversion. And if you don't get 1, you're going to have to get a field goal or a third touchdown, right? Doing it when there's 9 minutes left on the clock when they scored that first touchdown. Going for 2 then when you're down 9 to either be down 9 or down 7 allows you to know, okay, the last 9 minutes of this game, we're managing it knowing we just need a touchdown. Or, hey, the last 9 minutes of this game, we're managing it knowing that we need a touchdown and then another touchdown or a field goal. Knowing now allows you to act accordingly the rest of the game. And mathematically, it leads to significantly higher win percentages. Now, I understand that this team, maybe they just needed hope, but the fact that they went for the field goal instead of the 2 points, which significantly decreased their win percentage probability, and then missed the extra point, was karma for ignoring the math. And Brian Callahan is supposed to be the math guy, right? Part of the one of the things that I like about him is that he's supposed to be the math guy, and this is bucking the math entirely, which I don't appreciate.
I think in life, there are two schools of thought, right? There are hard numbers, black and white, 1 + 1 = 2. And there is emotion, feeling, psychology, right? And you have to go back and forth. You could sit here and say, Dan Campbell says F you to the math all the time. He goes for it. Let's just go. We're going. I believe in my guys, man. I love them. This is all I think about. So there are schools of thought.
Yeah.
I think this was a psychology play to a hopeless team to give them some hope. I think with 10 minutes, the psychology of an 0-4 team, knowing that all we need to do is go get the ball back and our offense just needs to score once and we'll figure it out then, because we're not very good, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about in the time. I think they think about themselves differently currently with one win compared to when they did of the time that we're speaking about. But this is a coach thinking about the emotions of his team and the psychology of his team. So I understand that. Whether you agree or disagree, I also know the math too, right? Like this tells you go with the analytics. The numbers don't lie, right? I think this was a case where you have to go with your feeling in your gut. And the best thing Brian Callahan could have done, and I hope this will probably stay the same until he's no longer the coach, is he's not calling the plays. He can now think about these things. He can. It's not some guy in his ear because he's worried about scripting the next. All right, when we get the ball, we've got to go do that. He doesn't have to think about this. He can actually concentrate on the game. And I think, and I don't know, I hope we find out this afternoon in the press conference, is that was his philosophy.
Two things. Wes says, I hope Callahan rips Easton a new one. Honestly, me too, because then it'd be a lot easier for me to beat these allegations of being in the guy's pocket.
Which is funny. Like,
it is funny.
Throughout Twitter, you'll get I'll see him in the weirdest pockets of Twitter saying, Easton's, cooking dinner for Callahan tonight.
I'm paid for.
Like, oh my, when's the check getting cashed on Monday after the game? It's hilarious. You're going against him,
right?
In this manner.
Well, it's like Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones, where the classic speech, he goes, I wish I was the monster you all think I am. I wish I was cashing checks. I wish I was getting a cut of that good Amy Adams Strunk money, but I really, really super duper am not. Two things on this. I'm with you in the sense that I understand the psychology there to go against the numbers. I get, it tracks what he was thinking. My pushback is twofold. Number one, there's a part of me that wants to just say, if you really don't think your team with 10 minutes left in the game can psychologically manage being down 9,
no, can score twice. No, I think it's more can score twice. So,
right? But I mean, what you were saying was that it's about them having hope still. It's a psychological thing.
Yeah, because they don't think they can score twice.
Right. No, sure. But if you don't think if you think that's going to ruin your team, then fold the team. But more that, and that's kind of flippant.
It's not folding.
Here's the real thing, Zach. You know what happened? They ended up being down 9 and they did it anyways. So there's your proof that they could do it anyways. It wasn't going to crush them.
But okay, to be fair, yes, they missed and they were down 9. But we're talking about the decision when they were down 9 with the opportunity, right? So yes. You can't go, hindsight doesn't work here. We're talking about in the moment, what should have Brian Callahan done? And he said X. How much stuff had to happen for them to score twice too, right? So
sure.
We also know they lose the game. They can't score twice without all of the craziness that Adam Schefter, and if it takes Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport tweeting about the Tennessee Titans, something crazy had to have gone on. Well, ding, 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 something crazy did. So that's why I'm saying, we're talking about in the moment, all the other stuff happened. I think that's what he thought.
Here's my final pushback from a psychological standpoint. From a if you're a player, what inspires more confidence in you in that moment? If Brian Callahan had gone for, you scored a touchdown, your first touchdown of the game, Brian Callahan expresses his confidence in the team by saying, go for 2. I believe in you guys to get it. They don't get it. Okay, well, you know what? We're down 9, but we just scored a touchdown, and our coach thought we could go and do it. Or you score a touchdown, Callahan gets tight because he thinks the team is going to get tight if they don't stay within one score here, goes for the extra point, and they miss. And so in that moment, you're thinking, gosh darn it, we had this momentum. We scored our first touchdown. We could have made it a 7-point game if we'd gone for 2. Those players aren't dumb. They know they probably should have gone for 2 there. And the coach didn't believe in us. And now we're still down 9. That is more detrimental mentally to me if I'm a player at the moment than if they'd gone for 2 and not gotten it.
I go back to our Cardinals conversation. The Cardinals and the Titans do not coach the same way as the Bills, the Lions, the Eagles, and the brass of this league. They don't.
And my point is
they should. Expect them to.
They should, though. I think it's fair to say they should.
I actually don't. They don't have the talent or the players. They don't have the skill set. They don't have that luxury. So I actually disagree with you. Is you can't coach like you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside and a tush push that is a guarantee. You can't coach like that because you don't have it.
There are levels to it. Like, to your point of Dan, now I'll push back a little bit on you saying that Dan Campbell bucks the numbers. He bucks the numbers less than people think. Like, when he's going for it on 4th down, some of those 4th downs that feel like, I can't believe he's going for it on 4th down, from a math standpoint, are actually go situations. Now, when he's going for it on 4th and 10 and on his own 20-yard line, like, that's not math. That's just him thinking that his team's awesome, and it's a, slapping it down on the table moment. Fine. But for the Titans in that game yesterday to have a 4th and 1, a 4th and 2, and a 4th and 3, and punt on all of them, when we know this team is going to have to do some things basically every Sunday this year until further notice, they're going to have to do some things that are a little uncomfortable, that maybe they're not quite talented enough to successfully do on a regular basis, but they're going to have to create their own luck a little bit and push the envelope if they want to compete. Those are the moments where I think it's fair to say this coaching staff should coach more like those teams.
I expect that to happen in week 8, 12, and 14. They're not a team. They're figuring out their identity, their team. They don't have one. I want everyone, and this is going to piss people off, go listen to Mike Vrabel's end of game speech in the locker room after last night. Okay. We've all heard Mike Vrabel, but what Mike Vrabel has done in a very short amount of time, Brian Callahan's had a year and 5 games. They don't have an identity. Mike Vrabel, through 5 games, already has his identity with the New England Patriots. Now, he got a head start on Drake May for a year, so it's differences. But go listen to his post game.
Much better roster.
Right? Correct. But that's the difference. You hope that the Titans in week 8, 10, 14 have an identity, Easton, where they do some of those same things that you're asking them to do because they're a better football team and they're more confident in who they are. It's like a teenager. You're 13 years old. You can't, you're awkward. I look like a gargoyle. I was 5'5". I didn't have a beard. I had no confidence. But the older you get, the more life experience, the more game experience you have, the more likely on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you're going to Dan Campbell shit. And you're going to say, I believe in my guys. I'm going for it. The Titans have no reason. And to be honest, for Brian Callahan, they didn't have any reason to believe in his guys. Now, he'll coach speak you to death and say, hey, we've always believed. But in the moment, that doesn't align, in my opinion.
I can let this rest on that. Listen, I'm going to go to the facility here in a couple of hours, and I'm going to get what is probably going to be an unsatisfactory answer from Callahan. But it sounds like, based on the short answer he gave to this question yesterday, that at the very least, I will give him credit for this not being a flippant decision. He alluded to, and this is what I want to get to the bottom of, he alluded to them as a coaching staff having either talked through this or having a protocol in place for what they wanted to do. This was a thing that they had thought through before. This was premeditated. This was not an act of passion. So I'll give him credit for actually thinking it through. I just want to hear the explanation for why, after thinking it through, they came to this conclusion, because I think it's wrong.
All right, Easton, as the head barista of the Callahan Cafe, is your
Don't do that.
viewpoint?
Don't do that.
Did you improve? Did you stay the same, or did you go back on Callahan?
You know, I didn't improve. I may have taken a small step back, just because from a game management standpoint, choosing to not go for it on 4th and 1, 2, or 3, and choosing to kick the extra point instead of the 2-point conversion, I take issue with the majority of those things. And since he's not calling plays anymore, I don't know what I can say besides that was disappointing to me in totality.
And all jokes aside, I think that is your honest opinion, right? Like you everything that you've supported says that, you disagree with some of his in-game calls. That should improve. The in-game calls are what he took back, those decisions. I think the exact same about Brian Callahan currently. One win off of some flukes are not going to make me, drink, the Callahan Kool-Aid. But I like the trend. I think this is so needed that who do they play next?
The Raiders.
The Raiders are trash ass. Did you watch them yesterday? They are awful. They are so bad.
Going through it, man.
Pete Carroll was about to bitch Geno, and he decided not to. Ginty is not the guy that they thought that he. I mean, Ginty's got a long career, but the Raiders are bad. Now the Colts are very good.
Yes, they are.
The Colts are very, very good.
Real
They've
deal.
drafted well. They've got good players.
They are the real
now
deal.
Daniel Jones can actually be with Danny Dimes, whatever you want to call him. The Raiders, here's an opportunity. Here is your seam. So we'll probably ask this question every single week after they win. Did your feelings improve of Callahan, stay the same, or get worse? The Raiders in Las Vegas, this is a real opportunity to win back-to-back road games. And the Patriots are knocking on the door.
When was the last time they did that? Back-to-back road game wins. 2020?
The iPhone 3? I don't know. But here is your window. You look at pockets. If you looked at the Giants schedule, you know what their window was? Winning against the Saints, because they're about to go on Murderer's Row on their schedule. That's regardless. But you have to play along the Candyland map, right? And these are 2 games that you can win on the road based on what we know about the teams. Can Cam Ward kind of pull the momentum, that word, in back-to-back games? And I think I will then start to maybe think a little differently about Brian Callahan. But I'm the same right now.
I'll say one good thing about Callahan yesterday. My opinion still probably took a small step back ultimately. But one thing that I think yesterday showed without any question was something we've been talking about, and something that I with JT last week got a lot of flack for talking through this idea of, okay, well, if we all agree Callahan should be fired, when should he be fired, and what does the timing of that impact? And I was talking about how, to me, one of the biggest, if not maybe the only reason I would fire a coach as early as the end of September or early October is if it is clear and obvious that their players have given up on them. And to Callahan's credit, these players have not let go of the rope 1 inch. They have not given up, and they have had every reason to. I mean, I tweeted in the middle of that game that I said Jeffrey Simmons would be justified in trying to force his way out of this team. The fact that he and the others on the field yesterday played the way that they did and did not give up until the end and fought until triple zeros is evidence of what I have been talking about and trying to get people to understand, is that you may think this team has quit. I'm telling you, they've not quit. They're just bad. Because I'm in the locker room every single day. I'm talking to the players and the coaches every single day. I'm at the games. I'm watching the games. I know what it looks like when players start to quit on the coach. It hasn't happened yet. You can think a million things about Brian Callahan, a million bad things about Brian Callahan's 10 years as head coach so far with the Titans, and a lot of them are fair and true. But it is undeniable that he has not at any point lost anybody in his locker room. And I don't really know how, based on the number of wins and losses, that's been the case. But they've not let go of the rope, and I do think that's a testament to him.
I want to ask you a Callahan question, but tell everybody about Boterra carts. You talk about fun. Winning's fun, so is riding in a golf cart.
Yeah, life is short. Buy a golf cart. Golf carts are fun, and if you want one and you're in the Middle Tennessee area, Boterra Carts can hook you up with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and in Gallatin, so no excuse. There's a location near you no matter where you are in the Middle Tennessee area. They have very, very competitive pricing options. $6,800 is where their carts start, and you can pay those off with 0% financing for 36 months. So 3 years of 0% financing. They're open every single day of the week. They are locally owned and operated. They're a full-service sales and rental dealership, so support a local business. No dealer fee, no credit card fees, no credit-needed option. Their carts are stored indoors and kept pristine. Get a golf cart. Life is short. Go buy a golf cart and do it with our friends at Boterra Carts.
BTA Sports, that is who powers us in the mornings. Download the app today. Use the promo code ATOZ. Better for bettors. Fight fire with fire. The sports books are trying to take your money. BTA is having and trying to let you win money. Get in on Monday Night Football. Plus, you've got Thursday, Sunday. I mean, a long season ahead. Make sure you download the app today. All right, Easton, I got a question for you.
All right.
This is I'm taking advantage of my time with you because
Okay.
I don't get a lot of on-air camera time.
It's true.
With you.
Yeah, I'll see you back here probably in January or something.
Is there a number that Callahan can yes, there is. I'll answer my own question. What is the number of Callahan saving his job? Is 1 win?
Wins?
Yeah. Or is it savable? I mean,
it literally is savable.
Too much games left. The answer is yes. You can win a number of games to not be fired.
Right. Is it savable? Well, can they win every game they have left? Technically, yes. Then it's savable. You know what I mean? Like they could go 14-3. So yes, technically it's savable. Where's the line? I mean, we all came into the season. Everybody's prediction, the Titans are going to win 5 games, 6 games, 7 games. I still don't see a ton of gimme opportunities on their schedule. Like they play the Raiders. They've got a couple of gettable games at the end of the year, the Browns and the Saints. Those 2 games, they'll probably be, they may be favored in those games, depending on how things shake out. We'll see. But they still got the Jaguars twice, and we'll see the Jaguars tonight, but man, they don't seem like an easy out by any means. The Texans, I think the Titans fixed the Texans last week. I don't really know what happened
the
there.
Ravens fixed them.
Well, the Titans the Texans were down bad, and they got a fantastic spread of the walking wounded Ravens and the completely dysfunctional Titans to get their season back on track. The Niners, no. The Chiefs, no. Like these aren't gimme games that they have left. So if I think that they're going to get a couple and improve, and I think this season can turn if 2 things happen. Cam Ward gets better each week, obviously. Number 2, they can do what they did yesterday. Kind of an underlying element of our discussion is the fact that the Titans won in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And that's such an elementary thing in football. But for them, and I'm trying to real quick pull up. So another stat courtesy of my buddy Zach Lyons, the Titans yesterday, the defensive line pressured at the 7th best rate in the league. And the offensive line allowed the 2nd fewest pressures in the league. Top 10 and top 5 on pressuring the quarterback and not allowing your quarterback to be pressured. If you can do that kind of thing, they will win some more games. And I think if they get to, I don't know, I think the bar's higher now than it was before. I came into the season thinking they could probably win 5 games and Callahan could survive, depending on how it looked. I feel like now they need to get to 6 or 7, where it's like, man, that the beginning of the season was so brutal. But they won 4 of their last 6, and Cam looks good, and Callahan's not making mistakes. That's what it's going to take for him to save his job. And there's a lot of season left, but it's a real uphill climb. I think they need to win 5 or 6 more times.
Yeah, I'm at 7. I was at 7 before the season. Still at 7. That hasn't changed. Hasn't gone up, but it hasn't gone down. In the NFL, you can beat a team that you're not supposed to beat. We see that all the time. So
yes,
they're going to have to do that. And then beat the Raiders, steal a game from the Jags randomly. You're going to have to beat the Saints. And then I don't know how they get to 7, but maybe. I do think they can take the recipe of the second half of yesterday's game and put it into 4 quarters. If they can do that, that is tangible improvement.
Mm-hmm.
That's Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley actually having a connection.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give your hats off to Chigakonkwo.
Yes.
Because they referenced it yesterday. He had kind of been the weird offensive glue. I mean, Io Manor disappeared yesterday. And I know that because he
bad game for
I
him.
started him in a bind. He gave me 4 points.
My Io Manor agenda is in shambles after yesterday. I'm afraid it's all right. He's a rookie. It's all
right. Here's one guy, and I hate that it has been an hour and 10 minutes, and we have not said his name, but the impact player of the season is not Cam Ward. It's not Jeffrey Simmons. It's not Calvin Ridley. It's Jim DK. He sets this team, a very bad team up. Who overthrew DK? It wasn't DK. It was Cam Ward twice.
He got open deep twice, man.
That's not DK's fault. And he's fast. We know that. We know his 40 times. But special teams, Titans fans, chat. Hey, chat. You've seen a lot of bad special teams on this franchise in two-tone blue over the last several years. You're not saying any of that stuff. Old Bones, Fossil, and DK are at least putting this thing together where, back to the days of, I think the last glimpses with Dexter McCluster. I mean, that's a throwback, right? He's been out of the league for a decade. The last time you had any sort of maybe slight confidence in it, DK, let's give some roses to what he has been able to do because he has been consistent.
He has.
No other player has been. Jeff's made mistakes along the way, Denver and others. DK has been the most consistent player on the team.
In his special teams role, yeah.
In his role, right? I mean, that's all you can do.
Yes.
He's not asked to be wide receiver 1.
Right. I agree. I mean, he and it's kind of all year long, it's kind of gone back and forth between who we're higher on with Jim DK and Alec Io Manor, and obviously Io Manor taking a step back yesterday. DK being that steady Eddie guy, it is a roles thing. Like when Io Manor is on, he's a much bigger impact on the team than DK because he's being asked to do more as a rookie. But the two of them absolutely constitute some reason for optimism because you're right. Jim DK consistently is setting this team up. I also felt like he was pacing his run backs yesterday a little bit differently. Like he, especially on the kickoffs, he found that one seam and got them out across the 50 on one where he seemed to be kind of jogging to begin, waiting to choose his spot. And then, so I'm seeing him every week approach his job a little bit differently. I think he's getting better on top of being pretty good at this naturally, which is exciting.
So I think you put positives in a nutshell. DK, Chig, Calvin, if Ridley can continue that, Pollard, and I'll add on Tajay Spears coming back. It's going to take some time for him to be that change-up back, which we all know we talked about the running back, running the ball, getting into third and manageables, and just the overall philosophy. Cam Ward has improved, and we know his talent, so there's that. And the interior defensive line. I think your problems, though, lie on, can the offensive line be consistent? This was a good game, but they got Max Crosby on the horizon, who's going to be a terror. And their secondary still gives up big plays, and they don't have any outside pass rush. That some of that stuff is not going to be fixed, but I do think that there are more positives today than you could say through the first quarter of the season.
I agree. And so now what is it about? It's all about you can't let it all get thrown out the window and fall flat this week. And far be it for us to preview the next game on a Victory Monday. But I can't help but already start to kind of eyeball that across the room. Like last year, the last time the Titans won, I believe it was November 24th in Houston. They then followed it up with one of their worst games of the year in Washington, the Jarvis Brownlee Jr. too cold, 45 degrees outside game, in which the Titans were down 28-0 in the first 20 minutes of the game, I think. It was out of hand immediately, and they allowed like 140 rushing yards in the first quarter. So that's what you can't do. And that not doing, I'm not even talking about winning next week against, we've made it clear this Vegas team is bad. But not falling flat on your face would be a step in the right direction for this team. So that's where we're headed.
Absolutely. One last thing before we get out of here, got to thank Wilson County Hyundai. If your car buying needs, if you're looking for a new car, make sure you check out Wilson County Hyundai right there in Lebanon. They are friends of the show. Payne Bone and his team will put you in a very, very nice Hyundai. So make sure that you check out Wilson County Hyundai.com for the vehicles that they have. All right. We don't know when the next Victory Monday that we will have, but
cherish it.
I think this was much needed for Titans fans. So a little less vitriol for the next several days.
Yes, and it is a good feeling. Zach, it was a pleasure. I love getting to do our quarterly show together. I'll see you next business quarter. Austin will be back tomorrow. JT will be back in the fold this week. We got Buck Rising prime time tonight and a ton of written content coming to A2Zsports.com throughout the day. So make sure to keep it locked there. On your way out, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you all same place, same time tomorrow morning.
Adios.